What up? It's the real Keys. Any other a fabrication of your imagination. And Universal Debates presents Real Random Versus Discussions. Here we discuss versus battles that you wouldn't normally think of instead of the same old recycled fights that you see every day. And today we have the weapon of mass destruction, the Black Light Virus itself, Zeus, aka Alex Mercer, going up against the last surviving member of the Kaguya clan, leader of the Sound 4, Kimimaro. Two characters with biological abilities. We're going to compare their stats and see who comes out on top. I have a list of locations and use the random number generator to see where the fight would take place, and they are listed by size of the area to fit the tier of the characters fighting. They will be fighting in Midgar Sector 7's The Slums from Final Fantasy VII. Alex Mercer was once a scientist until one day he wakes up in the Gentech morgue with his physiology changed and with biological powers and no memory aside from his name. Confused and pissed, he's determined to reclaim his past. He sets out on a mission to confront his old colleagues. But in reality, the creature acting as Alex isn't really him, but the Black Light Virus in a human form, which was released by the real Alex Mercer moments before he was shot dead and infected. The virus brought his body back to life, believing it was him. Now he is set out to infect the entire world with the Black Light Virus. Kimimaro was a member of the Kaguya clan and his last surviving member after it was wiped out and slaughtered. He was recruited by Orochimaru and became the 5th member and leader of the Sound 5. He set out on a mission with Kabuto and Orochimaru and successfully killed the 4th Kazekage. Orochimaru considered him the best vessel to take over for his quest for immortality. But after the mission, he became ill and Orochimaru set his eyes on the new vessel. He wasn't only the leader of the Sound 4, but also the strongest member. Alex has a large variety of abilities. Let's start with super speed, which pretty much the name implies everything. He's able to run at high speeds, faster than cars and helicopters. Super strength, which name also implies it all. He's able to punch, throw, and kick people far distances, jump in the air, hit the ground and cause major shock waves, and leave craters in the ground, sending people and objects flying. He's also able to pick up military vehicles like they're nothing, even able to rip the cannon off a tank and destroy the tank with it. Invulnerability, where things like bullets just completely bounce off of him. Wall run, where he can run up walls. Air dash and glide, where he can jump, dash through the air and glide, giving him limited flight. Consume and transform, where he can consume people and transform into them. This also regens his health. He can still use his powers and the powers of anybody that he absorbs. He can also kill them and then consume them. They don't have to be alive when he does it. It also allows him to seize the person's memories. Biobomb allows him to use any organic creature and turn them into a bomb, which sends out tendrils that pulls everything near it, causing an implosion which kills and destroys anything that was caught in it. It seems to stretch a few dozen meters. He has a sensory ability that allows him to see thermal radiation and anyone infected with the virus. He can also infect anyone he wants. It seems to be able to travel a few city blocks, even possibly the whole town. Can create claws on his hands that are sharp enough to cut straight through people and cut through metal like butter. Can create a blade on his hand which is just as sharp as the claws but gives him more range. Gives him tendrils, which are long range attacks that can pull things in, like when Scorpion used his spear from Mortal Kombat, or he can use the tendrils to attach things to other things just like his bio bomb, or just use the kinetic energy for like a huge punch. He can also use it instead of the bio bomb to do the exact same thing, where it is focused on a single point before it pulls everything into it. Hammer fist, which increases his punching power. They also have the added effect to create spikes from out of the ground when he crashes into the ground with them. Whip fist, which is pretty much just his blade with an extended reach. He can also grab people from a distance with it. He can summon a black light creature, and they seem to be just as strong as him, and they are called brawlers. And he has his most powerful attack, which is called Devastators. With this attack, he becomes the bio bomb, able to stretch, it seems to be maybe a city block, destroying everything that was hit by it. Instead of bringing everything closer, it seems to push everything further away. And the tip of the tendrils attached to whatever they touch He can also create a shield onto his hands, can create a suit of armor to cover his body. He can also still create his weapons on top of the armor. He can also use an attack that's almost like Devastator, except this time it pulls things in instead of pushing them away. And he can do it in mid-air. And he has an attack called Bullet Dive Drop, which he jumps from a high distance and hits the ground, which creates spikes that come from out of the ground. Kimimaro main ability is his KK Genkai, which is bone manipulation. He is able to manipulate his bones to a degree that they protrude from his body and able to use them as weapons and create weapons out of them. He uses the bones from his shoulders, elbows, hands, and knees to create weapons and use the technique he coined the Willow Dance. And this was able to defeat a whole bunch of shadow clones of Naruto pretty easily. His next attack is called the Camilla Dance, which he pulls the shoulder bone from his arm and creates a sword. The next is Dance of Larch, where he is able to create bones from all around his body and use them as a weapon and cut people up. It can also be used as a surprise attack and defense. It also extends the range of his taijutsu. He can also use his fingertips like bullets, giving him long range projectiles. He also regrows all the bones that he is using. He was given a curse mark by Orochimaru, which amps his stats and increases regeneration, and it comes in two forms. He has the first curse mark, which puts a whole bunch of tattoos around his body. Curse mark 2 increases those stats and gives him gray skin. And his next move is the Clematis Dance, which comes in two parts. First, he pulls the spine and uses it like a whip to hold the opponent down, and rolls, which he creates a weapon around his arm to pierce the opponent. And then he has his final and most powerful attack, the Seedling Firm Dance. He summons thousands of bones that rise from the ground. They can reach up to 200 meters high. He is also able to travel through these bones anywhere that he wants. And this attack has a lot of AoE, as he was able to cover a decent chunk of the forest. For Alex's attack potency, we easily see that he can pick up vehicles. He's able to easily take down a helicopter, and there are giant creatures in his verse. A weaker character named James Heller was able to take down a 60-foot giant mutated creature called Goliath, and James was able to rip his head completely off. This will make him at least building level due to its mass. In one mission, Alex had to smoke out Elizabeth Green, and she caused seismic activity, aka an earthquake, with just her moving her body, and it could be felt from a few kilometers, maybe a few miles away. The game takes place in Manhattan, so if multiple neighborhoods in Manhattan could feel it, it could be either a 4.0 or a magnitude 4.5. So for the low end, it would be 15.1 tons or city block level. For the mid end, it would be 84.8 tons or city block plus. If it was a magnitude 5 earthquake, the energy output would be 478 tons or multi-city block. And if it was a magnitude 6 earthquake, 14 kilotons or small town level. Alex fought Elizabeth right after that, and he was able to defeat her, and she was a giant, at least 30-foot tall creature. He could possibly even be higher, because after James absorbed him, he was able to send his tendrils throughout the whole city. This caused a small explosion in the epicenter where James was. For the small blast in the center, it was 10 to 100 tons of TNT or city block, and for the citywide ignition energy, it will be 10 to 15 kilotons, which is town level. For Kimimaro, he was able to single-handedly beat all 4 of the sound ninjas by himself all at one time. They have the curse mark sealed just like Kimimaro. They had to go into curse mark 2 stage, while Kimimaro only had to use his first. He was also able to take on multiple shadow clones of Naruto in his QB mode, which is an imp. I couldn't really find a calc on my own, but we have one where Naruto was able to stop a giant snake, and I got this from the Versus Battle Wiki. It was calced to be 17.92 kilotons or town level. And I do have a calc for Gaara's Sand Tsunami, which Kimimaro not only survived right after he used his Bracken Dance, which covered the same amount of area as the sand, if not more, and it equal 1 kiloton to 3.5 kilotons, which is small town level. For Alex's speed, we can see that he was able to dodge Elizabeth's attack and perceive them as slow. She was also shooting debris like bullets and they were exceptionally fast. He is even perceiving the gunfire in slow motion. And Elizabeth's attacks are moving faster than the bullets are actually moving. Alex isn't just only reacting, he was able to escape her area of effect. And I couldn't count my own speed feat, but Versus Battle Wiki does have her speed feat for him being able to react and block a tank fire from up close using his shield, and it was calculated to be Mach 9.5 or hypersonic. For Kimimaro, he was able to keep up with Lee in his base form and as Drunken Lee, and Drunken Lee was faster than Mike Guy reaction speed. And it also should be noted that Lee did get faster, but the reason that people have a hard time against him is because his movements are unpredictable. And I couldn't find a calc for Kimimaro speed, but there is one for Gara on Versus Battle Wiki on how fast his sand is, which is Mach 58 or high hypersonic plus. For durability, Alex was able to tank a helicopter exploding while he was inside of it, survived being impaled, but you can kind of chalk this up to his regeneration, survived the tank exploding while he was inside of it, tank debris that was being thrown at him at the speed of a bullet maybe, and this was concrete. Captain Cross believed if he absorbed Alex, he'll be able to tank Manhattan being purged, and it's very believable because Alex took that same bomb into the ocean and survived this explosion. But Captain Cross could have meant that he could survive it by regenerating, because Alex also was completely disintegrated, but he regenerated. But I do have a calc for the explosion. It had a yield of 2 megatons or small city level. For Kimimaro, we have the previous calc of him tanking sand tsunami. We also have one for him tanking sand burial, and this was calced to be 1.9 to 3.8 tons of TNT or large building level, but this will only apply to his base because he thought he would die and he had to use his curse mark. And with sand tsunami, this would put him at town level in his curse mark stage 2 form. So now let's compare the two. Alex has so many hacks that I do not even want to count it up. And Kimimaro basically has 1 hex that can be used in multiple ways. So I would have to give the hacks and abilities to Alex. For attacks potency, this is a lot closer. Alex has building level feats along with 16.1 tons, 84.8 tons of TNT. For city block, the city block plus 478 tons for small town on his own. Scaling to James, he will be a 10 to 100 tons, which is city block. And if we go by the highest end interpretation, 10 to 15 kilotons or town level. While Kimimaro in his base is 17.7 kilotons, 1 kiloton and 3.5 kilotons make it small town level in his curse mark 2. I feel like his second feat is more consistent because it wouldn't make sense for his attack potency to go down in a stronger form. And I think Alex would be more consistent with city block to multi-city block. So for attack potency, I would have to give this to Kimimaro. For speed, Alex has a calc for Mach 9, so he's hypersonic. But Kimimaro was able to react to Gara's sand in base, which was calced to be high hypersonic at Mach 58. And his curse mark amps his speed even higher, so he could easily blitz Alex without breaking a sweat. So Kimimaro takes this for speed. For durability, Alex has a possible 2 megatons of TNT feat, but I feel like that is more than unlikely since he had to regenerate to survive. But to give him some sort of durability, let's say in his fight with Elizabeth, the rubber she was throwing was the size of boulders moving at the same speed as his combat and reaction. We'll say the size of the boulders were 1 to 2 meters. If the boulders were 1 meter, it would be 1.14 tons of TNT, and if they were 2 meters, it would be 2.28 tons of TNT, which would be building to large building. If we consider it being multiple boulders, for 10 it would be 11.4 to 22.8, 15 17.1 to 34.2, and for 20 it would be 22.8 to 45.5, which is city block, making it consistent with his low end attack potency. And for Kimimaro in his base, it would be 1.9 to with 3.8 tons of TNT, which is large building. In his Curse Mark 2, it will go up to the previous calc of his attack potency, so Kimimaro will take it in durability. And based on the bounty system, Alex's bounty will be 46,384,000 with a grade of S+, and his threat level is fraught with danger. Kimimaro's bounty would be 38,524,000 with a grade of A- and threat level of fraught with danger. Before I elaborate on the fight, I want to say one thing. The only time that we have seen Kimimaro fight was against Gaara, Lee, and Naruto, and he was sick at that moment. But in this scenario, we will use a hypothetical healthy Kimimaro. Honestly, the fight could go either way. Kimimaro has it in attack, potency, speed, and durability, but Alex has it in hacks. And with the location being where it's a whole bunch of people, Alex can constantly regenerate by consuming people. He can also turn into people for Kimimaro not to know who he actually is, and he can use his environment as a weapon. He can actually be able to defeat Kimimaro once he's tired out. And with the hex that he has, and Alex could just keep regenerating over and over again, and Kimimaro really has no answer for it. Alex will also have the range advantage if he uses tendrils, while Kimimaro bracket dance would be his longest range attack. And Kimimaro can travel throughout the spikes, but the thing about it is Alex has the sensory power that would allow him to know where Kimimaro is based on his heat signature, but he would never be fast enough to actually react to him. Alex could also infect the whole area, making everyone attack Kimimaro to wear him down even faster. But just like my Cole versus Sinbad video, Alex will win due to his regeneration, on top of having a location advantage. But it's an extremely high diff fight. But give me your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe for more Real Random Versus discussions. And follow Universal Debates on Facebook.